Alright, what's going on, everyone? So here we are back at the fuel cell cage to go ahead and finish it off and get it in the car. I've done a few things since my last video, so I'm going to go ahead and show you what those are. Alright, so I did go ahead and get all four spacers welded on, and what those are going to do is that's going to give me enough clearance to run all of my lines under the trunk floor. So I needed about 1.5 inch clearance from the top of the fuel cell to run my lines, and that's what those spacers are going to do. So I'll go ahead and show you the welds on those. Okay, so now that this cage is fully welded up, it's ready to be painted. So I've just got some gloss black spray paint that I'm going to go ahead and put on it. That'll look pretty good. So let's go ahead and walk over to the car and I'll show you what I've done in there. Alright, so here's the trunk of the car. As you can see, I have welded in some reinforcement plates where all the bolts are going to go. I've just got the bolts sitting in there. So yeah. Now, once I get the fuel cell fully put together and bolted in, I think I'm going to probably go ahead and weld this washer and the bolt to this plate here, so that I don't have to have two people undo the tank if I need to. Otherwise, I would have to have like somebody up here holding it and then somebody at the bottom undoing the bolt. So I'll probably just go ahead and weld that up, and that'll be nice, but I'm going to wait until I get the fuel cell completely in to weld it, because it's likely that this might be at a little bit of an angle one way or this way, just a little bit. And if there are those angles and I weld it now, it could be that I'm not able to get the fuel cell mounted up in there. So let's go ahead and get this cage painted here. And I'll show you the holes that are in the spacers. So those holes there. So I want to make sure that it lines up after I get it all in. So that's when I'll weld it. So let's get it painted. Alright, so I did get the fuel cell cage painted, and that's all dry. So now I need to go ahead and get the fuel cell all assembled, and that means putting in the tank. So I did get the fuel cell foam in, so I'll go ahead and show you that. Okay, so the fuel cell foam is in there, and basically all I need to do is go ahead and drop the fuel pump in and get all of these bolts tightened down. And yeah, this is the vent, and this will go ahead and let air in and out of the tank, and this will be the return. I've got this cool little thing here, got it from like Summit or something, this little breather. This lets air in and out at the same time, but it will also, if it flips over, and the chance that the car would flip, there's a ball in there that would clog up the hole, so that no gas would drain out. So definitely need to vent your tank properly. So time to go ahead and drop the fuel pump in there. Alright, so there it is. Got the cage and the strap across the fuel cell, and it's all put together, and it's ready to go ahead and be bolted up in the car. Alright, and there the fuel cell is all bolted in. Went in pretty smooth, no issues there. Pretty simple. So I'll give you a little view from the bottom side, what it'll look like from the rear. So I can't scoot too far back, but that's what it's going to look like from the back. Pretty cool. Looks good as well as functionable. So that's going to be cool. I still might trim a little bit off of that. I just left it long in case. I'll know once I get the car back on the ground. So the next thing I'm working on is getting this trunk floor cut and put over the fuel cell. So this is some like thick kind of plastic material, pretty durable, and it's going to save on some weight, and it's not going to be like bowing and flexing and making noise like a sheet of thin metal would do. So I'm going to use that to cover this. I'll show you what I mean. Alright, so it's going to look basically like that. Obviously it's going to get painted. I'm not sure what color. It'll probably be silver, but I could throw some like vinyl carbon fiber wrap on it. But that's what it's going to look like. So one of the bolt holes is there, and there's another bolt hole up here around the ring. So I just need to drill another hole like that and do that. The other thing that's real nice, and it's coming together just kind of how I hoped, is that there's the filler is keeping this board from sitting all the way flush, which means that I need to drill a hole out here and for it to sit level, but it's not by much. So then this cap is a bigger diameter than the fuel filler. So when I put this cap on and we've got this hole here, it should seal up any kind of open areas that I would have cut out, so that like that wind noise might not come up in the car as much as if I just had a big hole here. So hopefully I'll be able to drill this hole really tight, sit it over the fuel filler, and then put this cap on, and that's going to keep it real tight. So hopefully you understand what I mean. I need to go ahead and map that out where that filler is, and then get the hole drilled. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll show you what I mean. Alright, so first test fit, the hole saw was just a little bit too small. I'm talking barely. So the plastic doesn't fit quite over it, but yeah, it's better to go too small for this than too big. So I'll just take some sandpaper and hollow this out a little bit, but otherwise it's looking good. Still got the bolt to line up, and yeah, basically what I did was I just used some like black silicone and put it around the lip of this fuel filler here, and then set my plastic on top of it so that way it would leave a ring on the bottom side, and then that is how I used that to find the location for my hole. Alright, so it's been a little bit later, and I never really ended this fuel cell install video, but I did get it fully installed. So I think you remember seeing it like this. So there it is again. But I did finish the cover that goes on that, so I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so there it is. There's that cover in there. So it looks pretty clean. I need to paint it still. I don't know if I'm going to paint it silver. I might paint it black or something. I'd probably do it silver. Or there's a dark gray that I painted the interior. So I also made a video on painting this whole car, so make sure you watch that one. But yeah, that turned out really nice. I'm pretty happy with it. I just need to get it painted. So I'll show you kind of the view from the bottom. So I think I already showed you that. But next thing I need to do is when I get this car back on the ground, I need to go ahead and make sure that the fuel cell is level with the ground, really. And that's just going to be maybe adding a washer or two in some places. So I'll kind of show you the setup on the bottom. Hopefully there's enough light. So there's what it looks like. I can just add some washers to the top of that, but that's really what it looks like. So I appreciate everyone watching, and I will see you in the next one.